Hi, my name is Joyce, and my page is on 3D printing in medicine. So I chose this topic because I personally work in the hospital, and I have some interest in what 3D printing has done to help the medical field. Just to get started, I wanted to point out who the founder is. The founder, Charles Hall, was granted the patent 1986. So he created 3D printing as the device, and other people have been able to modify it and add more things over the years to create different things. Moving on here, so the 3D printer that's used in medicine is called 3D bioprinting because it's used for biological things like stem cells, blood, models, tools, etc. So they're called bioprinting. So basically, bioprinting is used to create living human cells or tissues in regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. There's a little video here showing how bioprinting is used.
For critical organs like kidneys, heart, and liver.
Okay, the link is found in our reference page if you want to keep watching the video. It just goes on to show the behind the scenes, like the coding aspects of bioprinter and putting in the designs and stuff. Moving on here, we're going to talk about the benefits of bioprinting being used in the medical industry. So the first one is cost efficiency. So because bioprinting is used to cut down costs on like actual living human cells and organs, 3D printing offers the ability to mass produce and do so cheaply. 3D printing can also reduce manufacturing costs by decreasing the use of unnecessary resources. An example would be a pharmaceutical tablet weighing 10 grams that could potentially be custom fabricated on demand as a 1-gram tablet. Some drugs may be printed in dosage form that are easier and more cost-effective to deliver to patients. So this was an article written in 2014 talking about some benefits of pharmaceutical tablets being printed. The next one is the enhancement of productivity. Because the process is considered faster, which it is, you can print something within a day instead of waiting 6 or a year or 5 years for a tissue sample or for a bone marrow, for example. Products can be produced in an hour, like I said, rather than months or years, if we're using the traditional way of a wait list and other things. According to the NIH, some additional ways 3D printing helps with productivity is by being accurate, reliable, and repeatedly when creating a product. So, being accurate will be putting in a code and you know exactly what it's going to print. So that's going to help, being accurate, being reliable is working 24 hours, whereas an actual doctor can't really work 24 hours and be more effective, etc. And repeatability, which is very important if creating things from, like a printer, for example. The first model might not work, but you can also copy that model or copy the code to be able to create a more effective product. Next would be customization and personalization. So by it being customizable, you can create stuff fit for a patient. You can also personalize things like, for example, aesthetics and other things. Bioprinting gives flexibility and freedom to produce custom-made applications in medical products. So like I said, some examples include custom-made prosthetics, surgical tools, other pharmaceutical things in the industry. Moving down here, these are some advancements that bioprinting have helped in the past few years. So the number of U.S. hospitals with a centralized 3D printing facility has grown rapidly in the past decade, from just 3 in 2010 to more than 100 by 2019. This was how fast other hospitals have been printing or having a bioprinting facility. Some other advancements that bioprinting helps is creating stem cells, creating skin, tools, bones, tissues. It helps with research, cancer, heart and vascular, and some organs, and medical devices, especially in instruments. So the cost of bioprinting, so it costs approximately $40,000 to purchase a bioprinter in the United States as of 2022. Living human tissue can be successfully printed with a $1,000 3D printer, but the prices increase as you get more specific. If you want more information, you can refer up to the very first page called Types of 3D Printer for more information and models. And here are other things that 3D printing has helped with as well. This is orthodontist. This is a teeth model here, impression made from 3D printed, as you can see. Next, we have things like dentures. So the gums were made from 3D printer, and they can kind of create fake teeth, etc. And then you have implants. Again, some teeth being installed. They kind of fit on like retainers, but they are 3D printed as well. So the next page I have here is laws and updates on 3D printing. So the 3D printing is being regulated by the FDA in the United States because it's not really a food and drug thing, but it's also for the medical industry, which is regulated by the FDA as well. So the FDA, like I said, is in charge of reviewing medical products created via bioprinting. The types depend on the product type. So this just goes into how they divide it. We have 3 classes that they put stuff into to skip up to regulation. So we have a high, a low, and moderate risk of products. So that's obviously the standard increase with each category. So in this picture, this is the first class of things, which is 3D printed surgical tools and bandit. These are in class 1, so the regulation is not as high for these tools, even though they do have to be, they have to work more effectively. So this quote here by a medical journal in 2020 said that all devices, unless specifically exempted or regulated by the FDA, and they're expected to adhere to the current goods manufacturing practices. As 3D printing becomes more important in medicine, it is very, very imperative that we have an oversight to prevent patient harm. That's why, I'm really grateful that FDA have stepped in to do this. Next, we have the class 2, which here is infusion pumps and syringes. These are 3D printed, and again, the level of regulation goes up and up. And for class 3, we have a pacemaker. Do you see? That's pretty cool. It also helps. A pacemaker, or like any device that is going to help improve or sustain a life, is class 3. And again, regulation is very, very high on class 3 products. And lastly, we have the latest updates and improvements that have happened with 3D printing. So, October 27, 2022, hydrogel was bioprinted, which kind of mimics negative blood vessels to aid with cardiovascular diseases. 2018, October 18, 2022, Penn State researchers have successfully printed a breast cancer tumor and treated it. Next, October 6, researchers at Queen's University have designed a new band-aid treatment known as the scaffold to treat diabetic foot ulcers, which is cost-effective while improving patient outcomes. July 5, 2022, bioprinting for bone repair enhancement with 2 growth factors included. So like I said, they use codes to, on the bioprinting machine to print stuff. So July 5th, 2022 of this year, they were able to add 2 new growth factors to the code. And April 24th, 2022, they were able to 3D print testicular cells to help treat low infertility. Again, these are all in the research phase. It hasn't actually, been in hospitals and more, relevant in treatment, but everything starts with research. And here, the bioprinting, the bandage right here, we have the negative blood vessel that was printed. That's gonna be ink as well. Here are the doctors from Penn State that were able to print the cancer cells right here. And this is at one of the facilities, the research facility here. Moving forward, so anyway, in closing, I just wanted to say that obviously all these things are in the research phase, and they have not actually been able to transplant organ that has been 3D printed yet. But with the advancement in studies, the scientists are getting closer and closer. We can only hope and wait that with time, everything becomes more affordable, because right now it's very expensive. Thank you very much.